Hello everyone, welcome back to Story Time. Today we are starting a new book and this is B-Boy and the Meanies by Janie Martin, illustrated by Martin Tidy. And Janie is a local author and she has very kindly said that we can read her stories for Story Time. So let's get ourselves comfortable, sit down, snuggle up and let's find out what happens to B-Boy. Jack was lying on his tummy, looking through his new magnifying glass, when a huge bumblebee landed on a dandelion. It made him jump and he quickly moved in case he got stung. "Go away!" Jack shouted. He tried to hit the bee with his magnifying glass, but he was too slow. It had gone, or so Jack thought. "Please don't hit me," said a tiny voice. "Who said that?" asked Jack, looking around. "I did," said the bee, hovering where she could be seen but not hit. "My name is Bzz. I'm a bumblebee." Jack tried to say her name, but it sounded like he was blowing a raspberry. They both giggled. "I shall call you Miss Bumble," he decided. "My name's Jack." "I think I know you," mused the bee. "Are you Jack Andrew Smith?" "Yes," Jack answered cautiously. "How do you know that?" "I've seen you before coming out of your house. I thought you seemed nice for a boy, but now you're trying to kill me." "What have I ever done to you?" asked Miss Bumble. "You might sting me," said Jack. "We bees only sting when we think we are in really serious danger. Honeybees die if they sting a person, so they only do it if there's no choice," said Miss Bumble. "But why?" asked Jack. "What's the point in doing something that makes you dead to stop being in danger?" "We sting to save all other bees in our nest or hive, not ourselves," explained Miss Bumble. "Oh," said Jack, and thought about this for a moment. "What about wasps?" he asked. "Wasps are a bit different," said Miss Bumble. "Wasps are in our family, so we have lots of things in common, but they are bullies. They are the bad cousins nobody talks about. Can I tell you a story?" "Yes, please. I love stories," said Jack, and made himself comfortable. "Before I was born, a gang of wasps broke into our nest. It was the end of a bad summer, and there had been less fruit and fewer people having picnics because of the weather. But wasps love sugar and need things like strawberries, rotten apples, ice cream and fizzy drinks to keep them happy. When they couldn't find enough, they came to steal our honey." "Wouldn't they find more honey where the honeybees live?" interrupted Jack. "Oh yes, and they tried attacking their hives first, but the honeybees were too clever and too strong, and so the wasps came to our nest. We only make enough honey to feed ourselves, but we might have shared if they'd asked nicely. Instead, they barged in, breaking things and stinging the bees who tried to fight back. We made them leave in the end, but it was really horrible and scary." "Wow," said Jack. "Wasps are mean." "Yes, they are." Miss Bumble looked sad. "I was told to keep out of the way of bullies and mean people, or if they won't leave you alone, try and ignore them. But," said Jack. Then he ran out of thinking. "That's very good advice," said Miss Bumble. "That's what we do with wasps. But sometimes when it doesn't work, we have to stand up to them and let them know they can't bully us, because we all look out for each other." "Jack! Jack!" his mum called. "I've got to go." Jack scrambled to his feet. "It was very nice to meet you," he called over his shoulder as he ran to see what his mum wanted. "And it was very nice to meet you too," Miss Bumble replied. "I'm sure we'll see each other again." A few days later, Jack was on the swings in the park. He was going really high. The wind was in his face as he swung forwards. Then there was a funny lurch in his tummy as the swing dropped backwards. He closed his eyes so that the feelings were even stronger, and he wondered if this was what it was like to fly. Maybe Miss Bumble could tell him next time she visited. When he opened his eyes, he saw a group of children gathered by a fence. 2 boys were showing something in a box to a couple of girls and a small boy. As Jack watched, all 3 of them jumped away as if something in the box had scared them. The big boys laughed. Jack had been letting the swing slow down while he watched. He scuffed his feet on the ground to slow it quicker, then jumped off before it had completely stopped. He ran over to see what was in the box. "What have you got there?" he asked. "Let me see." The boys showed him the clear plastic tub. "It's a wasp," said the boy who was holding the tub. "Yeah, we're going to see how long it takes to die with no air," said the other. "That's not a wasp," shouted Jack. "It's a bumblebee. Let it go." He tried to grab the box, but the boy moved it out of reach. "Don't be stupid. If we take the lid off, it'll sting us," he said. "No, it won't. A wasp might, but not a bee. Give it here. I'll let it out, and if anybody gets stung, it'll be me," said Jack. "No, it's ours," said the second boy. "Give it to me," repeated Jack. "Or you'll do what?" asked the boy with the box. I'll get my bee friends to come and sting you when you're not expecting it. I can talk to bees." Jack knew this sounded silly, but he couldn't think of anything else to say. Anyway, it was true. He could talk to bees. Or at least one bee. The boys laughed. "You can do what? You're a nutter. Here, have the bee, let it out, and show us how you can talk to it." Jack took the plastic tub and carefully lifted the corner of the lid to let in some air. The bee was sitting very still. Jack took the lid off completely. The bee's wings twitched. "Thank you, Jack," a faint voice said. "Miss Bumble, are you okay?" he asked. "Oh, Miss Bumble, are you okay?" the Meanies mimicked and fell about laughing. They were making too much noise to hear her reply. "I will be in a moment. Then I'll fly away. I need to get back to the nest as soon as I can to recover properly. I promise I will see you very soon, though. Thanks for saving me," said Miss Bumble, although it took a while for her to get the words out, as speaking took a lot of effort. "What's the bee saying, nutter?" asked one of the Meanie boys. "Oh, my hero, will you marry me?" said the other, pretending to be Miss Bumble and putting on a silly high voice. "You're welcome. I hope you feel better soon," said Jack to Miss Bumble, ignoring the boys. As she flew away, Jack turned to the Meanies. "It's not funny. How would you like to be trapped without enough air? Not even wasps deserve that," he shouted. "Ooh, keep your hair on, bee boy," said one, snatching the empty tub back. They left, still laughing. "You were very brave," said a voice. Jack turned around, and there was the small boy who had been scared away. "I was watching from over there," he continued, pointing towards a big tree. "Those boys can be really mean. Sometimes they take my sweets." "The best thing you can do with Meanies is to ignore them or stay out of their way. But sometimes you have to stand up to them to protect your friends," said Jack. "Is that bee really your friend?" asked the small boy. "Yes, he is," Jack said. "Come on, let's go play," he added as he headed back to the swings. Later that week, Jack was sitting on a bench in the park, thinking about what to put in his notebook when he heard a buzz, and Miss Bumble landed on the page. "Hello, Miss Bumble. Are you feeling better now?" "Much better, thank you," she said. "You were very brave, rescuing me like that." "Not really. They were just annoying boys," said Jack. "I hope you haven't seen them again," she said. "They go to my school, so I can't help seeing them sometimes. They tease me a bit. They think it's funny to call me Bee Boy, and it's okay. They're stupid, so I ignore them and stay out of their way," said Jack. "Give them back!" shouted a familiar voice, followed by some equally familiar mean laughter. Jack looked towards the play area, and there were the 2 mean boys holding a bag of sweets out of reach of the small boy. "Make us," Meanie Boy 1 sneered. "Get your own sweets, they're mine," protested the small boy. "Yeah, and you seem to think we should care," Meanie Boy 2 shoved the small kid, and he kept his balance and stood his ground. "What's the matter with you anyway? You don't give us grief, you give us sweets, remember?" the first boy said, pushing the bag of sweets into the little boy's face. He didn't move. Jack spoke quietly to Miss Bumble, then walked over to his friend. "Look who it is! Here's B-Boy to the rescue!" The boys laughed. "Give him back his sweets. Go and get your own," said Jack. "Oh, OK." The boy with the sweets pretended to hand them back, but then snatched the bag away, laughing. "Not really, B-Boy. You'll have to make us." "OK," said Jack. "Yeah, you and whose army?" asked Meanie Boy 2, moving closer to Jack. "Miss Bumble," he called. "He's calling his bee friend," Meanie Boy 1 spluttered with laughter. "B-Boy is a nutter, B-Boy is a nutter," they chanted over and over again. Buzz. A small swarm of bees, led by Miss Bumble, hovered a couple of metres above Jack's head. "Give the sweets back," he said. The boys had stopped laughing and looked a little scared. "You said bees won't sting," said one. "My dad said bees die if they sting you," said the other. "You're both wrong. These are bumblebees. They can sting more than once, and they will sting to protect their nest or their friends. Now, are you going to give the sweets back, or do you want to learn more about bee stings? Maybe you want to know what they feel like," said Jack. Meanie Boy 1 gave the sweets back, and he and his friends slouched off, trying to look cool. "Don't forget, I am B-Boy. I can speak to bees, and I'm watching you," Jack called after them. "Wow," said the small boy. "Thank you," Jack said, looking up at the bees. Miss Bumble's friends gave an extra loud buzz and flew away. Miss Bumble settled on Jack's hand. "Thank you, Miss Bumble," he said. "We sorted them out, didn't we?" "Wow," said the small boy again. "You're welcome, Jack," said Miss Bumble. "But remember, it's best to ignore the meanies and keep out of their way." "I know," interrupted Jack, "but sometimes you have to stand up to them." "I tried to do that," said the small boy. "Yes, we saw you. You were very brave," said Miss Bumble. "I'm Miss Bumble, by the way, and you are—" "I'm Eric," he said. "Come on, let's play superheroes. I'm B-Boy and I'm going to save the world," shouted Jack, and ran with his arms spread out behind him like wings. Eric and Miss Bumble followed, giggling happily. Lovely. I'm glad that the meanies got told off. Because it's not nice to be mean. It's not nice to bully. We should all be able to play together and be together and enjoy each other's company. So I'm glad that B-Boy Jack and Eric could go and play being superheroes with their bee friends. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was B-Boy and the Meanies by Janie Martin, illustrated by Martin Tidy. And we will be back again tomorrow at 2 o'clock with a new story. So I will see you then. Bye-bye.